Our next contestant is a Stihl 046, and I made a video when I bought this saw, and I'll put a link. I'll have to try to see if I can remember to put links in the description to all these videos I'm referring to. But I got this saw. We had gone to, there's a fair in Goshen, Connecticut, and we had gone to the Goshen, Connecticut fair, and I went to the Stihl trailer, and I was picking up the Stihl 046, or I was picking up the Stihl 461 and the Stihl 661. Now that was 2 years ago, so it might have been the Stihl 660 and the Stihl 460, I don't know. But I was picking up the two saws, and the 066, in my book, is significantly heavier and more cumbersome to carry around than the 046. And I'm not saying that the 066 doesn't have a purpose or a place in the lineup, but if I was going to be using a saw, a lot, cutting wood with it, for milling, just get the 066. I've always said that. But if I was going to be carrying a saw around the forest, I would probably go with the 046, unless I did significantly more weightlifting and really built up some muscles. The 046 is a much lighter saw, and you can still put a pretty good sized bar on it. So I was at the Goshen Fair, and I was in the Stihl trailer. And at the Goshen Fair, I kind of decided that, if I ever decide to get a milling saw, I should just go ahead and get a Stihl 046, because I'd be more likely to use the 046 to both cut firewood with, and it could also run a mill. The 046 has got the automotive style air filter on the back. It's a pretty good sized element. It's paper. It's really nice, and it's got good power. So on the way home from the Goshen Fair, I kind of came to that decision. I went online and was looking for used saws online just kind of randomly, and I saw this saw pop up. And I thought, I called the fella right away, and I'll be honest, I thought it said 460 because I was looking at the 460s or the 461s again. I don't know which one. And it's funny because my wife walked into the office when I was on the computer and she said, well, that's not a 460, that's an 046. And I just was like, it looked like a really nice saw. So, by some miracle, I was like the first guy to call. And what I usually do is if something looks, like it's a good saw, I'll say, I'll give you your asking price as long as the saw runs. That's usually my way of doing it. I'm not going to, nickel and dime a guy who's offering a decent price on his saw. So I did that, and I made sure to schedule to meet the fellow the next day in the morning. And I went out to look at the saw, and you can see how little this saw has been used. The fella said he's a homeowner, and he cut some firewood with it, and I guess he was the type of guy that always went for the best, and he got the best. This is a pretty powerful little saw, and it's funny because when I went to start it, I pushed in the compression release, and the fella said, well, what is that? He didn't even know what the compression release was for. And I guess he had some kind of shoulder surgery. And he said, just in the morning he tried to start it, and it bothered his shoulder because he didn't even know what the compression release was for. And then I've been impressed. Nobody's really picked on me for this, but when I bought the saw, it had bar oil and gas mix on the saw, which tells me that the fellow that used this wasn't a big chainsaw user. But, you can see what awesome shape this is in. To me, this would be like a demo saw. Even today, the use it's seen would be like a demo saw. And all I did is I cleaned it up when I bought it, put a new chain on it, and she's been running good. And the one thing I noticed when I ran the 046, and I don't know if it's just the saw, maybe the carb needs some work, but I noticed with the 046 and even the 066, more the 046, so maybe it is a carb rebuild. When you get to the higher RPM, it kind of like there's a certain point where when you're hitting the throttle, it like kicks into overdrive. It's like nitrous kicks in or something, or the jet really opens up. I don't know, but when you get to the higher RPMs, there's like it behaves differently. It just like, you can just feel the power all of a sudden come out of nowhere. And I don't know if that's just the way it's designed, but a personal observation, more for the 046 than the 066, is that that's the behavior. And maybe it's just that my carb gaskets are worn down. But let me just show you this chain. This is the chain that came on the saw. And I don't know if you guys can see these funky depth gauges? This is what's known as Oregon Vanguard chain. So this is a full chisel chain. If you look at the corner of the cutters, so it's full chisel. There's a corner on those, but it's got these really safe bumpers. The depth gauges are bumper depth gauges. And the way this is designed, it's a full chisel chain, but it's supposed to be a low kickback chain as well. So I just made a video about sharpening this chain. This was the chain that came on the saw, and I took it off and kind of stuck it in my spare chain box. And then I figured I should just go ahead and use it up. So I don't know, I didn't want to waste a good chain. So I went ahead and sharpened it. And the thing about this Vanguard chain is it says that even if you lower your depth gauges below 25 thousandths, it's not going to take more of a cut. You know, it's designed to be that safe. And, you know, a lot of guys will cheat and take their depth gauges down lower, but with this chain, you really can't do that. But I got to say that the Vanguard chain, so it's Oregon Vanguard, it's very, very smooth chain. I mean, it doesn't, even though it's a full chisel chain, it's not grippy like most full chisel chains, and I think that has to do with these bumpers, because they're just never gonna dig into the wood you're cutting as much as something without the safety depth gauges. But if you're looking for a big firewood saw, I would probably, again, it depends what you're cutting, but for a big saw, I would probably go with the 046 as opposed to the 066, unless you're cutting some really big stuff all the time, because I do notice the weight difference between the 046 and the 066.